Did you know that orchids come from every corner of the planet? There are 30,000 wild orchids, and they come from the coldest mountainous regions of the world to the warmest, most tropical rainforests. There really is an orchid for everyone. In fact, there's 30,000 wild species of orchid, and that's twice the number of bird species. Orchids have had a 200-year journey from tropical jungles to become the most popular houseplant. During the early 19th century, orchid mania was born. A backyard conservatory was a sign of social success. Orchids come in every shape and colour, from species orchids like dendrobiums and cymbidiums to these darling crucifix orchids, the razzle-dazzle of Vanda orchids, the moth orchids and these dear little Australian native orchids. Let's pop one up. Now, I've chosen soft cane dendrobiums for a reason. They're really easy to grow and they're great for a beginner orchid grower. You see, you won't need a hothouse because they grow outside. I love them. These are called Dendrobium nobile hybrids, and in spring, they're absolutely sensational. They're great in a spot with cold, dry winters and warm summers. Never pot your soft canes into sphagnum moss. Use a bark medium, something like Scott's Osmocote Orchid Premium Potting Mix. This is free draining and provides the ideal root environment for growing show-quality epiphytic terrestrial orchids, including cattleyas, oncidiums and dendrobiums. The reason why I love hanging baskets is that the dendrobiums can kind of hang naturally over them. And all I need to do now is to hang this in a tree that gets morning sun and dappled sun for the rest of the day. It's magnificent. Now the secret is to stop watering them on Mother's Day and then start watering them on Father's Day. And that's when you can start to feed too. I've always found a little orchid food 3 times a year throughout the growing season is excellent. Osmocote Pour and Feed is the perfect solution when you're feeding indoor orchids. This ready-to-use liquid fertiliser is formulated to give orchids the nutrients they need with visible results in just 7 days. You could also use controlled release fertiliser for orchids, like this Osmocote, which feeds orchids for 6 months. Osmocote releases nutrients depending on soil temperature, ensuring that the plants are fed when they're actively growing. And this is a pretty handy one too, especially if you're growing Phalaenopsis or moth orchids. The fertiliser is in the mister. It's a mist and feed. Doesn't matter what soft cane dendrobium you choose to grow, it loves strong morning sun that really stimulates flowering. And when it is in full bloom, bring it indoors for maximum enjoyment.